This is Professor Bright, and we are going to continue to discuss professional problem writing in UmpTyUmp. And this video is going to focus specifically on formatting. Okay, so just some general basics of formatting. Make sure that whatever paper you're using, whether it's digital or notebook paper, that it is a sheet of paper without fringes. Or if you're choosing to type on it, make sure that when you print it, it is single-sided. One other thing about the paper, if you use graph paper at all, we actually don't want you to use any graph paper. Okay, and that is because it is really hard for us as instructors when we're grading it to actually read your writing on graph paper. Okay, so for right now, no graph paper. If you need graphs, you can always include them, so you can make them on a separate sheet, cut it out, and then cut it out, and tape. I prefer tape it on. If you want to glue it on, that's fine too. Okay, and make sure to write only on one side of the paper. That would be the single-sided thing if you print. It actually is hard, again, to read and grade the professional problems if there's writing on both sides. If you are using multiple pages, staple them together. Make sure to stay within the margins. Okay, so typing, that's pretty easy to do, but if you're writing, make sure you stay within the margins. Again, it just makes for a cleaner looking document. On the upper right, I know some of us might already do this out of habits with other courses, but in case we don't, I just want to make sure that this is clear. Make sure that you are including your name in the upper right corner on its own line, the course, so Calculus 1, the assignment number, and then the problem section and the number on a third line. Okay. Lastly, this doesn't necessarily apply to us in Rochester, but on the fourth line you would list your workshop leader or instructor. So Professor Kenyon, for example. However, again, since this is for the Rochester site, we only have one class, so that's not as important. Okay, so let's just see what that would look like. And I have a document in Microsoft Word, but I'm going to act like I'm writing on a sheet of paper. Okay, so again, I'm just starting to set it up. I have the margins. The margins are kind of already defined for me. I have the lines. So I would write my name on the first line. So Jared Bright. Okay, second line was the course. So Calculus 1, and then I would say it would be the assignment week, so maybe week 1, section 1.6, and a certain number, I don't know. Let's pick 3, I don't know. Okay, and then maybe I just write out Professor Kenyon on the fourth line. Okay, and then I would have that all set up. Okay, so that's the basic setup of your sheet. Now, eventually going on, there's going to be sections of the professional problem. So that was just the start. That was setting our page up. And as we go through, there's going to be different sections that we're going to expand on. Okay, there's going to be 3 sections. The first one I call the entry. Okay, and I actually, for right now, again, this is one of those expectations that might shift with time, I actually want you to label entry. Okay, so let's go to our sheet, and I'm going to write entry. Okay, and let's see what I need to do in the entry. In the entry, think of it like your introduction. Okay, so it's starting out the problem. Okay, generally what I would suggest to students is to rewrite the problem, okay, word for word, or if you're typing it and you want to just copy and paste it, you can do that too. Okay, make sure to state the goal of the problem, so what is it that you're trying to achieve in the problem, stating the assumptions, overview, the processes and tools that you're going to use to solve the problem. So maybe you have to find the inverse of each side. Maybe you need to find the function and state the transformations. So just general, broadly, what's going to happen in the problem. Okay. After you finish the entry phase, you're going to attack the problem. So this is where you're actually going to do the math. Okay. But let's go to our document, and we're going to do the writing. I don't know. We will actually go through an example in a different video, so maybe it takes up a few lines. Okay, and then the next section, I'm actually going to skip a line and then do the attack. Okay, and I am going to label that. Okay, and then let's see, in the attack, this is where it should be the longest. Okay, so you're going to lead the reader through your solution, explaining everything very carefully and with great detail. Okay, you don't need to show all the math. Okay, so if you're doing 3 minus 2 is equal to 1, I don't need to see this, so don't include. Okay, generally things like simplifying algebra or anything, you can just do it. Okay, but make sure that you include the appropriate topics. We're going to build on each one of these eventually and kind of develop that understanding of, okay, what do I need to include, what do I exclude, that sort of thing. So know that this is what we're going to be working on through the semester. Okay. After the attack, there's the conclude and reflect. And believe it or not, this is one of the most important parts of the paper. Okay, so again, maybe you do some explanations. I'm just going to leave some room. And math. Okay, that goes from here, I don't know, down here. And then I'm going to move down, and maybe that actually takes a little bit of the second page too. Okay, so it goes down to there, and then I'm going to do the conclude and reflect. Okay, and again, label these for right now. Okay, and so what do you need to do in the conclusion? Well, you need to conclude. So I want you to make sure to state your resolution. Okay, and I'm using the term resolution because sometimes it could be difficult to get to the right answer, if there is a right answer. Okay, so make sure to kind of state where you ended up in the problem at the end, and then briefly, and I mean brief as in 1 to 2 sentences, let me go back here, 1 to 2 sentences, no more, okay, briefly overview how you arrived at that solution. So again, just kind of summarizing your paper. So I had to find the inverse of each or of this function by exchanging variables or doing algebraic or using properties of algebra. Okay. Then after this, okay, so you've stated your resolution, you've stated your brief overview. This is the part that might be kind of weird. Okay, I want you to provide a brief reflection. Okay, so again, I'm thinking maybe 1 to 2 sentences. If you want to go over that, that's fine. But I want you to mention one of two things. Either mention what you learned, okay, from the problem, or key steps. Okay, so where were the important points where mathematics was really involved? Okay. So that's one. Alternatively, you could also mention connections. So connecting the problem to other problems or ideas or questions that surfaced when you were doing this problem. Okay? So one of the two. And that really is the skeleton of your professional problem. Again, we're going to get more details on these in later videos. Okay, right now we're just going to work on this bare bones structure, and so if things are kind of nebulous right now, that is perfectly all right. Okay? Try to make sure that you have these different sections detailed to the best of your ability right now in your professional problems. Again, we'll develop expectations over time.